It's the Morning Hustle, head crack L'Oreal, and it's another week and new things to tackle. We gonna believe the hype with our good friend Legally Hype. What up, Queen?
Good morning. How are you?
Doing great. You know what I'm saying? Happy Black History Month.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, power to the people.
Every day, all day. Now check this out, man. The world's attention is still on Tyre Nichols, man. And this has been a crazy case. There's so many things being spun, so many narratives, being thrown out there. But what we do have is more than 6 police officers at this point who have been relieved of their duties, over the death of Tyre Nichols. And what a lot of people want to know is, what can the family actually sue for? Because a lot of things are pointing at like this was a targeted situation, if you believe some of the narratives. So what can we work off of here?
Okay, so boom. So right now it's looking like from the videos that we have been privy to see, there's more video that is supposedly going to be coming out in the next couple of weeks as well, or that will be available in the next couple of weeks. But right now, we're looking at a couple of constitutional violations, right? So first and foremost, likely a Fourth Amendment violation because you have the right to not be pulled out of your car for no reason, or for the police to just be run up in your house for no reason, right? That is a constitutional violation. And then a 14th Amendment violation for due process, right? Because he's gone, so there's no way for him to get due process essentially. But his parents are able to sue on his behalf with regards to that. So it's going to be a lot of civil rights violations, right? So you'll likely see a civil suit for some of those things. And that's just based on the limited amount of information we've been privy to so far. And it doesn't help, right, with these criminal charges, especially if they are convicted eventually, right? That is going to help in a civil suit as well, because the burden is slightly lower in civil court, right? You don't have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. It's just by a preponderance of the evidence, which means more than 50%, essentially.
Got you. Now, as far as the prosecution goes, what do you think they're going to try to go for as it relates to charges? Because let's just say if there was a motive, right? Like, we targeted this guy for this reason, that reason, or whatever. Could they go premeditated murder, or was it? You think they're going to go with involuntary manslaughter? What do you think the play is going to be?
So right now, the highest charge essentially is second-degree murder, right? But if there is information that comes out that this was targeted or premeditated, then you are absolutely looking at first degree, at least one of the defendants at this point, right? Because it will go to show the intent, right? Like, y'all, you planned this, you had a reason to do this. And when it comes to intent and premeditation, it doesn't have to be a long time, right? It doesn't have to be you planned this a month ago or even like a week ago, right? It could be 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 1 minute, right? So if that comes to play, you can likely see the charges go up. So the DA in this case has said, like, it's very likely that more charges could come forward. Again, this is still an active investigation, so there's still more information to gather. I know they are still watching the tapes and trying to see if there was even probable cause for the stop in the first place, right? So that will make a difference. And if somebody comes out and says, hey, this is a situation between me and old boy or whatever, right? And, I think maybe this was planned or something like that, that could play into whether or not these charges go up. So,
man, this is wild. And it seems like there seems to be an uptick again on, police on civilian violence. Is bringing us back to where we was at like in 2020 during the pandemic. I don't know if you got a chance to see the video of the double amputee who got gunned down by the police.
Yeah.
In your backyard of Los Angeles, man. What's the street saying about that?
Yeah, okay, so boom, that is tragic as well, right? And the family is asking for more answers on that case as well. It's my understanding that the police in that situation did not have their body cams on, or they weren't wearing, or maybe I don't think Huntington Park has body cams or something like that. But thank God for the civilian video that captured the incident, right? So it's tragic, but they are also likely looking at a civil suit as well as more information comes out. I do believe that those particular officers were put on administrative leave with pay. So they didn't quite get the same punishment as they probably deserve for that, right? Because anytime you shoot someone in the back, it's hard to argue that you were scared for your life or you fear for your life when someone is running from you. Typically, you
Yo,
don't.
and we gotta say running in air quotes. This guy
Yeah,
was a
right.
double amputee who jumped out of his wheelchair and was
Mm-hmm.
running on nubs.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
there is no situation that you can explain to me to where you would make it make sense that you guys felt like you were in any way threatened, because this guy was running away. And for
So
those
there
other guys to get fired and and prosecuted immediately, and these other officers did not, I believe them being the color of the iPhone cord has something to do with that. But it's just a lopsided scale of justice that we're seeing across the board here.
Absolutely, it's unfortunate, right? And I think the reality is that what we're seeing is that Black people in particular are not looked at as people, but as targets and
Yeah.
objects, right? Which is really sad. And then you also look at, the area that this occurred in. But let's just be realistic. Like, it's really hard to argue that. Now, I get that they are alleging that, he had brandished a knife. But at the same time, when you look at it as a civilian, if someone was swinging a knife at me and I shot them, I would still be held liable for shooting them, right? Because even when you're defending yourself, it has to be equal and reasonable force. So it's just, it's unfortunate that these things are happening. But this is why we got to holler at our legislators and let them know, like, we're not cool with this. And that we want some sort of, there needs to be like a standard. There's no standards in the police, right? Within the police force. There is no, everybody just do what they want to do depending on what department they in and where they at. There is really no way to deal with this. There are no laws and legislation put in place. And when there was an opportunity to do that, the legislators didn't take us up on it. They didn't move on it. They didn't get it through. So I think now it's in the hands of, this blood should be on the hands of the legislators, because they have opportunity. And the people have said, we want change. We want there to be some sort of legislation put in place to control these issues. And so now I think the blood should be on their hands and they should have to deal with it. And we should hold them accountable to that.
Yeah, Congress, we looking at y'all, man. We're trying to get this George Floyd Act passed. And, y'all dragging y'all feet like this still isn't an ongoing problem, man. So, change has to come. Local elections is on the way. Sooner than you know it, you know what I'm saying, as well as the big one. So look at everything that's on the docket and let's try to get some change going on out there. Well, rest in peace to Anthony Lowe, who was the double amputee that got shot. Also, rest in peace to Tyre Nichols. And hopefully we don't have any more names and hashtags, to say, for the rest of 2023. And it's only February.
I'm like, we just walked in the Black History Month. Like last night, we just got here.
We ain't even adjusted to the sunlight good. You know what I mean? Right. There it is. Well, yo, Legally Hype, we appreciate your insight and input. As always, if people want to tap in with you throughout the week, because you be doing a little bit of everything, where can they go?
You can go to I Am Legally Hype. I am on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. Make sure you follow me, check me out, and go to legallyhype.com for your merch.
We are the Morning Hustle.